Look at that, man. That's the GOAT signature right there. Eliud Kipchoge. We had to come through in the Kipchoge 6s. It has his slogan on it and everything. No human is limited. Signature again. This is a good looking shoe. This might be the best looking speed trainer of 2024. What do you guys think? Is this the best looking speed trainer of 2024? Let me know in the comments. I love this colorway. You know what this red is supposed to symbolize? It's supposed to symbolize the red clay of Kenya getting up on the shoes. It is a fire look. It looks even better in person than it does on camera, let me tell you that. And if you are looking for a shoe that looks better in person than it does on camera, make sure to check out the Supwell app. $1 a month is the best place to buy, sell, and trade gently used running shoes, and you can get the shoes in person, not on camera, because you buy them on the app and then the seller will ship them to you. And we have the best deals on shoes like the Zoomfly 6, speed trainers in this category. I see them pop up left and right. Hoka Mach X2s, Hyperion Max 2s, Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s. Yes, we have dead stock vintage retro kicks on the app. It's the best place to come through with the dead stock running shoe heat. StockX who? Put some respect on the Supwell app. Let me tell you a story about the Supwell app. The Supwell app is so fire, and this is how I know my app is so fire. Supwell app is so fire that we have people on the app dissing me. The Supwell app is so fire that people don't even know it's my app. That's how many people are on the Supwell app now. So if you don't like me, if you just watch the videos to make fun of me or you skip to the end, you still might like the Supwell app. There's a growing community of people there who don't like me. That's how I know my app is fire. Yeah, I was gonna tell you guys to buy a Hobby Jogger hat because I've been saying that, but don't. This pre-sale's over. Pre-order is done. We're sold out. So stay tuned for more Hobby Jogger hats. Zoomfly 6. Let's get into it. Bang. All right, so in this running warehouse box here, we have the Nike Zoomfly 6. Now, this is one of the most highly anticipated shoes, highly anticipated speed training shoes, and this is what I was thinking about in the car, so it's actually Saturday night. Ooh, it's 10:23 p.m. right now. But I'm just going to pop this open and then get to bed. Charlie is trying to put Roni down in her room, so I'm doing this as one last little pre-bedtime thing before the long run. But what I was thinking about in the car is this is priced at $170. This is the first time in a long time that Nike has not overpriced one of their training shoes. So this is their entrant into the plated training shoe segment. You can see on the back here, I lined up a few of the top shoes in this plated training shoe segment. And these shoes here are also lined up in order of lowest stack to highest stack, or fastest, shortest distance type of speed training shoe with a plate to the most max stack behemoth long run. So this is one that I ran recently on Cloud Boom Zone. I actually ran this on Friday, and it was awesome. It blew my mind how fast it was, how streamlined and also bouncy this foam is. They call it Helion HF. It's just a Pila. This is more of a short distance speed shoe. It's almost like a 5K, 10K racer. They could have made it a 5K, 10K racer if they went with some carbon in here instead of plastic. And I think for most people, you could use this as a 5K, 10K shoe and be completely fine. It's almost like a Takumi Sen type of shoe. That's all the way on the lightweight end of the spectrum. All the way on the heavyweight end, you have the Prime X Strung 2. So this is a super max stack shoe. Same category as those shoes like Hoka Skyward X, maybe even Puma Mag Max, but that doesn't have a plate. This guy has 2 plates, 50 millimeters worth of stack here, which is just absurd. The Cloud Boom Zone, this is more of probably 35. The specs aren't out yet, but 35 to 37 in the back. This guy is the super beefy one, designed for long runs, designed for spending long hours out on your feet, literally hours. This is designed to be a 2 to 3 plus hour shoe, give you a lot of bounce and comfort. And then in the middle, we have the Mach X2. And this type of a shoe, this is what most of us think of when we think of plated training shoe. It's most similar to the shoes that started it all, like the Saucony Endorphin Speed and like the Nike Zoomfly here. So bringing it back to the Zoomfly.
The plated trainer market has seen a lot of growth. It's seen explosive growth over the past 2 years. Every single brand now has a plated trainer, and as you can see, there's different types of them. The Zoomfly, this was one of the initial plated trainers. When it first came out, it was designed to be that training shoe companion to Nike's racing shoes. And they had the Tempo Next Percent, which was the training shoe companion to the Alphafly, and then they had this one, which was the training shoe companion to the Vaporfly. So they did not overprice it. It's $170, right competitive with everything else. Cloud Boom is actually, this thing is ridiculous, $210. The Mach X2, this guy is $190. The Hyperion Max 2, that's $180. DV8 Nitro 3 from Puma, that's $160. Saucony Endorphin Speed is $170. And the new Adidas Evo SL, which is coming out soon, is $150. So competitive price point, competitive segment. Let us see how it looks. I did get the Kipchoge colorway, so it should look fire. Ooh. Look at that. It's just the start. I like the box here. So the box does have the Kipchoge Kenya Clay red. This is the EK edition. Look at that. See right there, Zoomfly 6 EK for Eliud Kipchoge. This is the GOAT shoe. Bada boom, bada bang. Says it's just the start. This race was planted. I guess you're supposed to write your race time. The thing is, it's not a racing shoe. It's a training shoe, but maybe they're using this box for the Alphafly as well. All right, moment of truth. Ooh, yes. Yes. Man, this is clean. It also looks, yeah, this is super clean. It also looks a lot higher stack in person than it did online. It looked really low in all the pictures that I've seen of it so far. It actually looked pretty low stack. So, man, good stack of ZoomX foam in the back here. Now, I did pull the Pegasus Plus out. Let me grab it. Yeah, I pulled the Pegasus Plus out here. So this is Nike's second to last release. They released this in August, I believe. Then they're following up with the Zoomfly. They've really been trying to make a bigger dent in the performance running. They've been in a deficit for the past few years. But I wanted to see, is this the same ZoomX in the Peg Plus as the Zoomfly? And ooh, that is not good. I just pushed it in and it ripped on this seam here. Yikes. That's likely where the plate is, where this is going right here. But the ZoomX here and the Zoomfly, it seems softer to the touch. Yeah, both in the front and the back. The ZoomX and the Peg Plus was very firm. So Nike has never said ZoomX is 100% PIVA. It's the same in all of our shoes. However, using the same name, for me, that implies that it would be the same foam. But I can tell you right now, this is not the same compound. This feels softer. I have a feeling this is going to be a nice ride. So we're going to take this out for a long run tomorrow. This is going to be perfect. Now, other things, design. Man, the design of the shoe is sick. I love the big swoosh on the front. You do have the classic 10mm drop here, but just looking at it. Actually, hold on. Let me check the drop on Running Warehouse. Make sure to order your shoes through my Running Warehouse link, by the way. Help support the channel. No, 8mm drop. Okay, that's what I was thinking after I second guessed myself. So yeah, 40-32. So it's still a high drop. They could have made this a 6. That would have been awesome, but it's not 10, which is nice. Stiff carbon plate, yeah. And so let's see, not as stiff as a race shoe. So it's probably the plate is a little bit thinner, I'm guessing, than a race shoe, but decently stiff. If you compare it to something like the Cloud Boom Zone, you're going to get more flexibility out of the Cloud Boom Zone because the plate is only in the middle here, and it's a plastic plate. But if you compare it to the Mach X2, man, this is a firm guy. I can barely flex this. So this is the category that the Zoomfly is going up against. The Mach X2s of the world, the Brooks Hyperion Max 2s of the world, all of these plated speed shoes that are designed also for long distances. So with 40mm in the back here, this should give us some good cushion. This should give us some good protection. And with the foam being 32 in the front, we should also get a decent amount of protection up here. And look at this. Man, nice rocker. That's been one of my issues with a lot of these Nike shoes. The rockers have just been really lackluster, but just looking at this, you can see the curve up in the front. It's almost, not exactly, but almost as aggressively curved as the Mach X2. Now, the construction of the Mach X2 here, you have a firmer foam in the back, the EVA, this yellow, and then this white here, that's the PIBA. The white PIBA on the Mach X2 is a lot softer. That's what's closer up to the foot here. That's softer than what we have in the Zoomfly here. So we'll have to see. I'll throw this on the scale in the morning. I need to get my beauty sleep before this long run, but first impressions here, this red clay foam coloration is sick. Yeah, this colorway is dope. No human is limited right on the inside here, which is Elliot Kipchoge's catchphrase. I also have an Elliot Kipchoge Vaporfly. Maybe I'll pull that out. It's over there. Yeah, his signature right on the back here. Just the general white and orange looks really clean. Good rubber coverage too, and it feels decently sticky. Nice rocker. It has all the ingredients to be a winner, but we haven't had a lot of winning Nike shoes recently, and it feels like maybe just a slightly softer, more resilient version of the ZoomX in the Alpha Fly. Yeah, if this can be an Alpha Fly light, it's gonna be a banger. This has all the bones to be a banger. Upper looks comfortable too. Nice structured heel counter in the back. So I'm gonna get my sleep. I'm gonna wake up bright and early in the morning, make some coffee, do the breakfast, throw this on the scale, and then we can take this out for some miles. What does it say on the tongue? Oh, like nothing cool. Just Nike Zoomfly 6. Kipchoge edition, man. This is the GOAT shoe, so we got to do GOAT activities in this shoe. Real GOAT activities tomorrow morning. I'll see you then. Alright, man, it was daylight savings time, so 7:21 on the clock, but it is actually 6:21 or 6:22. So I have not been waking up at 4:30 a.m. like I did all throughout my Chicago block for these long runs. I got to get back on it. I just kind of fell off. It's hard to wake up at 4:30, man. Shout out to everyone who wakes up early all the time to do their runs because of their job or life circumstances. That is serious commitment. Alright, this is what I'm going to do for coffee this morning. Make some coffee. I'll probably just do a bun with some jam on it. This is the Guatemala Finca Pampoilla. This stuff is absolute. I don't even know what you'd call it. I was going to say fire, but or you thought I was going to say fire. That's not what I was going to say. This is absolute. This is like a drug. It is so caffeinated, and I don't usually seek out high caffeine coffees, but this one, something with the roast makes it super caffeinated. So man, we're gonna be out there firing this morning on our long run. So I'm gonna make coffee, and we can do the weigh-in of the shoes, lace them up, and get out there and go. First run is gonna be a 20-mile long run, so it's gonna be a good test of the Zoomfly. Tunes this morning. You already know what it is, man. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, this is breakfast. Mildly sad. We only had This is the last piece of bread. It was a heel of an old loaf from the grocery store, and I burned it. So I'm gonna have this with the peanut butter, banana. This is the saving grace of it all. Honey from the farmer's market that I got yesterday. Shout out to the farmer's market honey. Boom. There we go. It's not glorious, but it's calories. Gonna eat this, drink the coffee, and we can get to chopping at the shoe market. Bobby Flay, who?
No.
Pusha T, who? No Bobby Flay. Stove God Cooks, who?
Nope. Nope.
What's your chef's name?
Young Reevesy. All right, weighing in the Zoom Fly 6. And man, I've listened to the West Side Gun, the Still Praying, probably 5 times through now. Complete fire. Even Charlie liked it. I was playing it in the whip last night in the Jeep on the way to date night, and she said, bro, this is fire. She said, West Side Gun is spitting bars. All right, 273 grams in the Zoom Fly 6. I didn't do a guess. I should have done a guess on this one. I probably would have said 270 to 280. But that's actually not bad. Let's throw on some of these other guys on the scale. That is a lot better than I thought it would be, especially considering this. Look at this. Nike Pegasus Plus, lower to the ground, streamlined speed training shoe, 263 grams. So very close in weight on these two. Also, the Pegasus Plus is $180. This is why I was absolutely clowning the Peg Plus when it came out for the price, because on paper, the specs were not great. Yes, it does say ZoomX here, but we all know this is not ZoomX. This is BoomX. Nike has different compounds of ZoomX across their training and racing shoes, as I was saying when we took this out of the box, but it looks like there's even a different compound across these two, because the Zoom Fly has a lot more of this foam here. You can see just visually there's more of the foam in the Zoom Fly, and it's nearly basically the same weight as the Peg Plus, 10 grams heavier, which is just crazy. So that is actually a pretty lightweight speed training shoe for in this marathon segment. Let's throw some of these other ones on. Brooks Hyperion Max 2. Oh gosh, no. And down. So I pulled out the 2 top hobby jogger shoes, the shoes that are going off in Slug World right now on the Supwell app. Hyperion Max 2. This one is getting a lot of pop, especially from bigger runners. People are loving the support and the feel of this foam. I'm also loving it. I felt it was on the firmer side in the first 2 runs, but man, it is fast, and I almost don't notice the firmness because the geometry is so good. So that's what the beauty of this shoe is. The magic is, well, the upper fits really nicely. It feels super dialed in. And then this quick toe off on the front. And I mean, comparing these two here, it looks like the Zoom Fly should have a good rocker like we saw in the office last night. So far on paper, Zoom Fly is looking competitive here. Let's draw on the other top hobby jogger speed training shoe right now for the marathon segment. That would be the Hoka Mach X2. This is coming in at 264.5 grams. This does have more foam. Let's compare these side to side. Should have more foam than the Zoom Fly in terms of the stack height that's been measured by Running Warehouse, but doesn't look that different. We'll see how it feels when I put it on. Looks-wise, I have to give it to the Nike, man. Nike, they never miss with the design, really. Some of their colorways are weird, but their design is usually pretty consistent. On point. This is on point. But hey, we've been fooled before. The Nike shoes always look good. That's what we know, so we'll see how it performs out there. But so far, I'm thinking we might have a winner in the Zoom Fly. I'm really thinking we might have a winner. This foam feels like something. You know what this foam feels like? The BoomX it feels like one of those stress balls. I've been racking my brain since I took this out last night, pushing it again this morning. What does this foam feel like? I was thinking, is it one of the Brooks foams? Maybe an Asics foam? No, not FF Blast Plus. And then it's something that I've held in my hand and pressed in before. It must be a running shoe foam. No, it feels exactly like a stress ball. That's what this foam is. It's a stress ball. And then just for some context here, let's throw on a few of the other shoes. So this is the On Cloud Boom Zone. I ran in this the other day, 238 grams. This is a really fun, fast shoe. If you're looking for more of that Rebel V3 replacement or even Nike Streakfly competitor, that's what the Cloud Boom is. So a bit of a different category. It's not a marathon distance training shoe, but if you like a more traditional feel, you could certainly use it for that. This is a complete banger. This thing can get up and go. Not the most protection compared to the other shoes that we have out here. The Zoomfly, the Hyperion Max 2. Well, I don't know how protective it will feel, but just in terms of the stack height, the Zoomfly, Hyperion Max 2, and Mach X2 are going to have more protection than the Cloud Boom. And then all the way on the other end of the spectrum, just so we can get a sense of where the Super Max Stack shoes come in, the Adidas Prime X Strung 2. This is around 330 grams. Now, Nike does not have a direct competitor with the Skyward X, with the Glycerin Max, with the one from Hoka would be the Skyward X, the Glycerin Max, and then the Prime X2 from Adidas. The Zoomfly is not quite that. We have seen a prototype floating around over the past few months. I think Connor Mantz was using it. Let me actually throw up a picture of it right here. It's like the old school Supwell channel where we used to leak stuff. I'm going to throw it up right there. Bang. So this is the Alter G prototype. This is not my picture, but it's been floating around. I don't know whose picture it was, so credit to you. If it's your picture, I'll give you photo credit, but I don't know whose picture it is. It has 2 different air units in there, plus what I'm guessing is real ZoomX. Who knows? It could be Gloomex. It could be DoomX. It's probably not the same ZoomX that's in the Alpha Fly and the Vaporfly, but that would be the competitor to the Prime X Strong 2, to more of the Glycerin Max, Skyward X category of shoes, whereas Zoomfly is going into this marathon training segment for speed. And then bada bang, Nike Alpha Fly 3, just to get some context here, considerably lighter, 222.5 grams. And this is where you can tell that they're not the same foam compounds, because you would say, well, the stack heights are the same on paper. It looks like they're the same exact foams here. The upper is not going to be 50 grams worth of weight. So where's the weight coming from? It's coming from the foam. The ZoomX and the Zoomfly here is not the same as the ZoomX and the Alpha Fly. But interestingly, you do get some of the same crinkles on the Zoomfly here in the foam. So it has some of the same characteristics of the real ZoomX, this BoomX here. But it's not the same exact foam, because if you look at the Hyperion Max 2, just a random other foam, no crinkles on this foam. You look at the Piba, this is real polyether block gamide, and the Mach X2, no crinkles on this foam. So that is a ZoomX thing, having these crinkles in the foam. It's funny because a lot of people will post on some of the forums, not on the Supwell app, but on some of the other forums, they'll be looking at an Alpha Fly and saying, is this real or is this a counterfeit? And people will say, well, if it has the crinkles looking a certain way, that's how you can tell it's real. So that is one of the interesting qualities of ZoomX that we see in the real racing ZoomX and in whatever variant they have in the Zoomfly here. So quick QA check. The first one was 273. Other side. Look at that. Look at that. Exactly 273. Let's go. Nike's putting in work. Nike's QA team, design team, product team, engineering team. Are we getting back to doing GOAT stuff? Nike, come on. GOAT stuff. Man, that was not Kobe. Devin Booker. And lacing up the Kipchoge 6s here. These are absolute flames. This is the thing. In running, you know what you have to do to get a custom shoe? If you're a professional runner, you literally have to run a sub 2 marathon. Unless you're running a sub 2 marathon, you're not going to get a custom shoe. That's just crazy to me. I need the CJ Albertson Brookses
And the Connor Mance, they should call the new Alter G thing we were just talking about, they should call those the Connor Mance ones. Meanwhile, Devin Booker is out here getting a custom shoe, and Lance Stevenson. It's complete absurdity. Everyone out here getting a custom shoe in all these sports, except for basketball. But lacing up except for running. The basketball players get too money. Lacing up the Zoom Fly 6 here. This feels like a higher stack Pegasus. It feels like a Nike narrow toe box. Yo, guess what? I messed around and did a full Nike week. And then you know what these other boys did? They bit the swag. Just started talking about Nike after me. All right. None of that this morning. Well, you laced up the Zoom Fly 6 here. It has a little bit of that Alpha Fly feel in the heel, where I noticed this. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but you do have an aggressive heel cutout or a heel bevel, as a lot of these guys say, the heel bevel, where it cuts down right here and you're missing some of the foam underneath the heel. Now, if you're landing with your toe pointed up, you might feel it, but if you're landing more flat-footed like this, we should be okay. And that's typically how I land with my foot, flat-footed like that, slight roll on the backside to the front. Walking here, it's comfortable. Most certainly a higher density ZoomX than what's in the Alpha Fly or the Vaporfly. And one interesting thing is I am feeling the ground a little bit under my forefoot. Here's the thing, man. You put on a pair of Asics Gel Nimbus 25 or 26, New Balance 1080 V13, Saucony Hurricane 24, even the Hoka Mach X2 or Hoka Skyward X. Your first instinct isn't, I want to go rip. I want to go put in some miles. With a lot of these other shoes on the market, yes, even the ones in this category, Brooks Hyperion Max 2, the feel of them is more comfort-oriented. The wider fits, more spacious, softer foams. And this is not an uncomfortable shoe. I'm actually impressed at the underfoot comfort, and this foam does feel nice. I'd be interested to see them put this ZoomX non-plated in a lower stack shoe, because this is not the same Pegasus Plus ZoomX underfoot. It's a touch softer than that Pegasus Plus ZoomX. But you lace these up, this is, all right, boys, it's time to party. It's time for a pace party. That's how I feel in these Kipchoge 6s, man. Woo! Bang! These are crispy. So yeah, fit is true to size. Feel is perfect. This is dialed in. Again, man, I just want to run. And look at that. We are going to run, and we are in Carbon County. So plan for this morning, 20 miles at least. I'm probably just going to bang 20 because I'm still getting back into it from Chicago. Last week's 20 was horrible, so nice, smooth 20. Pick up some pace here and there, test how these things do. And this should theoretically be the perfect run for this shoe, 2.5 hours. You pull for this shoe when you want to pick up the pace or do a long run during marathon training, but you don't want to put miles on your race shoe. That's what this thing is for. So let's get our goods ready, and then we can go out there and rip. All right, so fueling for today, I am going Morton Caffeine, the Torque Gel, caffeinated, and then 2 more non-caffeinated. So started off mile 4 with the Banafi. We'll have a Banafi party. Mile 8 we'll go non-caffeinated Morton. Mile 12 we'll go caffeinated Morton, and then mile 16 we'll do a non-caffeinated Morton. I might pick up one more gel from inside and throw it in here. Let's see. And I couldn't find the sleeve to my Nathan water bottle, so I am using the Amphipod today. It has all the same functionality, except it's just 7% worse all around. So I prefer the Nathan. I prefer the one that's not 7% worse all around. Yeah, the Nathan just fits my hand better. That's just the one that I'm used to. This one is fine. And if you want to pick up any of this stuff, make sure to use my Running Warehouse link. I'll put that in the description below. And guys, it really helps me when you use that Running Warehouse link. I get these checks quarterly from all the affiliate sales. We just got one. We tripled revenue again. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've been putting in a lot of effort here, buying a lot of shoes. So being able to have this affiliate revenue come in It helps me buy more shoes to test, and then I don't have to rely on the brands and the PR people to send shoes because they either don't care about me or forget about me, or I don't like emailing them. So because of that, I was able to buy the Zoom Fly 6. So thank you guys. Let me know what other shoes you want to see tested on the channel as well. So with that, let's go do this thing. 20 miles in the Zoom Fly out of the box. Oh man, it's election season. We got the signs everywhere. Yeah, even right here. And we might have to bring out the old George Bush quote. And fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Here's the thing, man. Early overreaction. I'm 36 seconds in. I feel like I've been fooled again. I feel like I've been fooled again by Nike. The design looks so good. The product feels so good in my hands. It feels like a running shoe when I lace it up. And oh man, I get out here and I start taking some steps. And it does not feel like it can hang with the big boys. The most accurate thing I said in that entire overview section was that this is some stress ball foam. Man, it feels like I am running directly on top of a carbon plate in some made in China stress ball foam. Out of the gates here, this foam does not feel good, and it feels like my forefoot is just slamming into carbon. Maybe I'm spoiled from all the other great plated training shoes out there. Oh, holy cow. This does not feel good out of the gates. And this is why I typically don't do 20 in a shoe out of the gates. Alright, first straightaway here, my legs are feeling okay. I'm gonna try to pick up the pace a little bit. The bounce is okay. The geometry is okay. Everything is just okay. Except for the foam. The foam is mid to not good. Oh, dude, hopefully this improves. I've been running a lot of mid recently. Oh, look at that hawk. Man, it honestly just feels like my forefoot is slamming into the ground. Just directly on top of a carbon plate. And these are the times where I wish I did watch other people's reviews to see if I'm crazy. I haven't watched anybody else's, and I generally don't, and I don't know what they're saying on the forums. Yeah, it just feels like I'm bottoming out this foam half a mile in. I'm gonna have to shut this thing off so I don't just pile drive this into the ground before we even get 10 minutes into the run. I'm gonna turn this back on at mile 2. Nothing until mile 2. See you then.
right, mile 2. I think it's feeling better. It's a pretty choppy ride. It's not a smooth transition. And that's where the slamming effect is coming down. It's giving me that Nova Blast feel, where you have the disconnected front and back. It's not giving me the Mach X2 or the Hyperion Max 2 feel, where it's so smooth and the rocker makes the job of running super easy. Now the ride feel, major Vaporfly vibes, which is why it feels that the foam is compressing a lot in the front. And if there's one thing I don't want in a plated shoe, it's ground feel. And this thing is giving me ground feel, or plate feel. And the plate feel 77s here. Yeah, man, overall this is just fine. Everything is just a 6. Just super disappointing. And maybe my mind will change. I don't know. There's also a lot of overlap between this and the Pegasus Plus in terms of the feel of it. The drops feel similar. The use cases feel similar. This is a little more cushioned and protective, but not by much. And this is also cheaper, even though theoretically it should have more technology, right? Because it has the carbon plate. So that's where Nike outs themselves as putting a nerfed version of ZoomX in this. And this literally feels like a Nerf football foam. If I took a Nerf football, cut the foam, glued it to the bottom of a pair of Crocs, and put a butter knife through it instead of a carbon plate, probably feel pretty similar to this. I almost have mile 3 here, and I hate being so negative. It's not what I want to be doing, but it's so disappointing that every Nike release I get so excited for it, and then each time they let me down. Their stuff is just not on par with the rest of the market. They are so far behind. This is not a top tier training foam in 2024. It's just not. And that's the benefit of me having run in 100+ shoes this year. The downside is that I can also be hypercritical. So if you buy this shoe and your plan is to use it for 30-minute to 1-hour runs, it will be fine. If you don't have a lot of other reference points, it will be fine. But man, if you've sampled just 1 or 2 of the other shoes in this category, you're probably going to be disappointed, especially given the gigantic swoosh on the side and what we've come to expect from Nike. Now that was mile 3, 7 flat pace. So I'm still in my everyday mile zone or warm-up zone. I'm not yet down to race paces, but these types of shoes, they should feel good across a variety of paces. Otherwise, we might as well just be in our race shoe. And just like the Vaporfly, and we're almost at mile 4 here, this shoe feels best when I land a very specific way. The Vaporfly is mid-foot to forefoot. This is almost landing on the heel with the toe pointed up to get the most benefit from the foam in the back. Landing more forefoot, that's when it feels I'm slamming into the plate. But 30 minutes into here, this feels a lot better than first few minutes. Also, just with some pace, it feels better. When I slow it down more to a jog, it does not feel good. So, some signs of hope. We'll see how it does in the next few miles. My goal is just to get the mileage today. I'm still rebuilding, not doing any crazy marathon pace workout. But depending on how I feel, maybe I'll throw in some pace pickup to test these out around 6 flat. Yeah, mile 4, 6:54. Gonna do the first gel Banoffee party. Let's get it started. Morning. Good, how are you? You too. It's my guy Gus putting in work. Gus and Betsy. Then after it. Alright, mile 5. Maybe I was a little harsh in my early overreaction. This is not a brick. It's not terrible. It's doing fine. Foam is softening up. Likely where we're gonna land on this is like all the other Nike shoes. It looks awesome, but the performance is second or third tier. Not a brick, but not a banger. It's an average volume mover for people who want the swoosh. But my channel exists so that you don't have to buy mid shoes. And people are gonna buy it anyway. In terms of the ride experience, the foam, the geometry, and the plate just aren't working together well across pace ranges. Feels best when running fast, but when I'm running slower, feels like my forefoot is slamming into the ground. And then when I pick it up, that's when I get bounce. But it feels like I really need to put force down into it to get the most out of it, which is odd because at slower paces, feels like it's borderline bottoming out and my foot's jamming on the plate. So what I would call that is not a cohesive package. This is when the elements, I often talk about elements coming together perfectly, and the final product transcends what each of the individual elements provide. It's that saying, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. That's not happening here. At mile 7 up the hill, 6:45. So out of all the shoes I pulled out this morning, one that we did not weigh in and talk about was the Asics Magic Speed 4. That's what this is giving me vibes of. I actually really liked the Magic Speed 4, so maybe I'll warm up to this. But so far this feels like a less refined version of that. The upper on this is better though, for sure. This is a good upper. Upper's probably best part about the shoe so far. Mile 8, 6:41 pace. I can't believe some people are running New York today after running Chicago. I do a lot of Sickos stuff, but that just sounds miserable. 3 weeks between PR attempts? That is not for me. Man, the wind on the main road is destroying me again. I understand the issue with this shoe now. Hold on, let's get out of this windy part, and I can tell you. Mile 10 here, clipping off 640s and 650s. I'm gonna take a second gel here in a second, the Morton non-caffeinated. But let me tell you what I was thinking about. The central conceit of this shoe, the entire reason for its being, the thesis, the hypothesis, is that the Vaporfly is good. This is meant to be a training version of the Vaporfly. I don't know why I didn't think about this sooner. But that's the idea of this shoe. It's based around the foam of the Vaporfly, the feel of the Vaporfly, probably the plate geometry of the Vaporfly. I do not like the Vaporfly. And this has a lot of the same issues as the Vaporfly. And whether you like the Vaporfly or not, it's clear that there are a ton of different competitive options on the market. And this shoe, there's a dog behind the fence trying to come at me. This shoe is a reminder that Nike isn't keeping up with the other options. They're getting high on their own supply. Let me be clear about what I don't like about the Vaporfly that's in this shoe. The deceivingly thin forefoot, having to land a certain way, and the feeling of the plate coming through. And it not feeling good at any other pace other than a fast pushing it. All right, between mile 12 and 13 here, just grinding it out, man. Every long run since Chicago has been trash. Trash. Caravaggio. We got to keep that mustard rolling. And this is where you got to separate the sickos from the normies. It feels like trash, but we keep those legs rolling. Mile 14, my legs fully feel like trash, and I'm also fully bottoming this out. This is not helping me at all in the back half of this run. It's just another mid-average shoe that can do just fine for 60 to 90 minutes. Yeah, we're at an hour 38, and it just can't hang. This is not a big dog. It's the best running shoe for Chihuahua owners. I need to add back in that midweek 90-minute run. I haven't had time just given my schedule, and I think that's killing me on the long run. Also, just these slow twitch muscle fibers, once I get 90 minutes plus, ever since Chicago, it's not feeling right. Still in rebuild mode. I was hoping today would feel easier. But it seems like I need a few more weeks. Frustrating. Mile 15, I'm fading hard right now. I'm gonna try to fight back for a few miles. See if I can throw some pepper on it. Spice it up a little bit. Whew. Mile 16. That was a 7:18 pace. Not much fight left in these dogs this morning. I'm just gonna do the best I can. Take the L on pace. Just cruising for 20, injury free. It's frustrating, but we're rebuilding still, man. I underestimated how long it would take to get my long run endurance back, because I've been hitting some good speed workouts. Just anything over 90 minutes right now, just fade hard every time. So we need some more recovery. I'll probably cut the mileage down this week. And you can see I'm talking right now, I'm not gassed. Just legs do not feel good. It's like my central nervous system is super taxed and just not ready to, like my body is not ready to go in the pain cave, and my mind is not ready to dig deep on a long run yet. So shout out to everyone doing back-to-back marathons. That's not for me. Yeah, it feels like I'm running with ankle weights on. But you know what? The standard is the standard. We don't quit. We don't cut runs short. Gotta finish this one out strong. This is what happens, man. We all have bad days. But if we say we're gonna do 20 and we're not injured, better gosh dang believe we're doing 20. 3 more miles. We can do it. Mileage. I just finished the last hill. We don't quit, we don't cut. We don't quit, we don't cut. This is why we show up on race day stronger than everybody else, because we already pushed through the pain during training. And I'm a sicko, I love these runs. You can't stop me. I might go a few miles extra just to bathe in the pain. Remember what it feels like to put in the work out here in Min Hill. Mile 18, 7:09 pace. Let's go. Mustered up. Mustered up. Get in with me. We don't quit. We don't cut. Mustered up. The standard is the standard. I live for this. I live for this. I must be sick in the head. It's a privilege to grind these miles. This is where we earn our steel wool. Like Boldy James says, it's different over here. Cut from some steel wool. Go ahead, sleep in that Egyptian cotton. Not me. Steel wool fleece. Barbed wire socks. Mustered up, let's go. Woo! Sometimes you just have to make a decision and say, I'm gonna be great today. Let's go, mile 19, 6:48. I'm going for 23. Mile 19, we hit a 6:40, mile 20, 7 flat. Or no, that was mile 21, 7 flat. 2 more to go. This is how you fight back. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. This is an opportunity to be great. These are the runs that make us great. We remind ourselves why we're doing it. If I wanted it to be easy, I would have picked another path. There's nothing easy about being great. I'm trying to be great. Mile 22, 6:48. This is how you fight back. This is how you fight. Let's go. One more. I'm locked in now. 22 and a half. I could go 24, but I'm gonna let it be at 23. I'm gonna let it be. No hero behavior. Just a reminder of what is required to get where we want to go.
Choo-choo! Choo-choo! All aboard.
All aboard the Carolina Gaines train. Let's go. 23 miles and 300. I had to stop myself, man. I was right down there at that tree. I came up that hill, rounded the corner. I was going to go 24, and then I said no. I said I wasn't going to be a hero today. I was just going to do what's required to be as good as I want to be, which is great. I firmly believe that's what it takes. Consistent execution, 6:59 pace, 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 45 seconds. So look at that. That's a marathon's worth of running. Because my last marathon was at 2:39. That was 2 hours and 40 minutes right there. So my time on feet, we've rebuilt it back up to the marathon. It was painful. It was hard. It was not fun, but we got it done. And that wasn't a pain cave 10 out of 10, digging deep, giving every last ounce of effort workout. It was a slow burn, 6 or 7, and this is what I'm saying. I firmly believe if we can execute at a 6 or 7 intensity, 5 to 6 days out of the week, and that's going to vary, right? So tomorrow, a 6 or 7 intensity for me might be doing an 8-mile recovery run. That'll probably be a 6 for my capacity that day. A 3 would be doing a 3-mile recovery run, and I rarely take it down to a 3. I keep it very even. 6 or 7. And you must say, you keep it even? You do 27-mile long runs and 22-mile long. But if you actually look at the intensity that I'm running those runs, like today, a 7 flat pace, I'm not going all out. 7 flat is right in the middle of my everyday zone for 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is a doable amount of running for me. And some of the best marathon runners of all time, Meb, our guy Meb, the former Skechers athlete, I think he might be with Brooks now, Mebby K. I read in the Brad Hudson book, he did a very similar thing where he kept his mileage consistent all throughout the year. He never ran crazy workouts. All his workouts were well within his fitness level. And on race day, he would show up and outrun a lot of people because his base fitness was always high and he would consistently execute. He didn't take big down weeks. I was like, I don't drop down to 30 miles a week, and at the same time, I don't do crazy track sessions where I'm puking. Consistent execution. Goal, plan, execute. We're back up to 23. Shout out to MJ. Shout out to Kipchoge. We had to put up a goat length long run in the goat shoes. Savings time. This is a bunch of weird basura because the sun's right here. That's a July 4 p.m. In reality, it's not even 11, but it's November. The sun's going to be down at 4 p.m. today. Holy cow. Man, I don't know how they do it. Look at this thing. Nike Zoom Fly 6. The looks on this are 13 out of 10. Holy cow. All the details. Look at this. It's just the start right here. I love what they've done. It's not kerning, but stretching out. They're mixing different width of the same typeface. Makes it look really cool. My 9 to 5, we actually did this. We have a design agency at my company, and we did this for an egg company called Handsome Brook Farms. We made their logo look like this, and it looks sick. Yeah, same thing back here with the Kipchoge logo, the dots on the back. Are those 6 dots for Zoomfly 6? That's cool. That's a good Easter egg. That's like what Jeep does with the Wrangler 6 or 6 rings for Tom Brady because it's the GOAT shoe. Let's see. We didn't look too much at the rubber coverage. Rubber coverage is good as well. New pattern here for Nike. It's like a reverse waffle. So hearkening back to that Bill Bowerman vibe. Yeah, good coverage wrapping up the side here. Good coverage in the front. Weird bit of exposed foam right here in the front, and then you can see the plate through the middle. So yeah, the looks are just complete banger. I mean, look at this thing. Also, speaking of looks, I should have mentioned I have the new Hobby Jogger hat on. Charlie forced me to switch. This is I've worn this one every day since TRE 2023. She said there was too much mustard on the dog on this one, so we switched to the new one. I don't know. I kind of like the worn in one, but Beautiful wife, beautiful life, happy spouse, happy house, not gonna mess with her. So performance of the Nike Zoom Fly 6. Let's throw up our run this morning. So we got 23 miles. The plan was to get 23 miles. I was lying to myself. And here's the thing. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to lie to ourselves. And if you've seen my videos before, if you've watched my channel, you'll notice I do this sometimes. I'll go into these long runs or any workout and I'll say, it doesn't really matter what pace I hit today. I'm just gonna take it how I feel. Maybe I'll go 20. It's lowering the pressure, lowering the expectation. It is such a helpful trick. If you can truly convince yourself that it doesn't matter, if you can truly convince yourself that it's totally okay to fail, to cut corners, to have a horrible performance, to go out there and be weak, it takes the pressure off. And this is something that I started doing not even intentionally, but I just noticed that I do it a lot. I'll always say, it doesn't matter what I do, but of course I want to hit 23. Of course I want to go out there and slam. And some days I'll hit it, and some days I won't. And the days where I don't, and the days where I cut, I will end up saying, it's okay. I won't completely beat myself up, but just lowering the pressure makes it easier to do more, because it doesn't have to be this gigantic Titanic feat. If the entire time of that run I was saying I have to go 23 or I'm gonna be a failed runner, I don't even know why I'm making a video on this. I don't deserve to be out here. If that were my mindset, I probably would have had an even worse run. And when I was fading at mile 15, I would have said, man, I'm completely trash. Instead, I said, I can cut it at 20. That's fine. I'm just gonna jog it out to 20. And then something switched where I said, no, I'm not gonna do that actually. I'm gonna do what I set out to do, which is 23. I wanna get 23 in the GOAT shoe. This is the Kipchoge edition. How could I just put up 20? We gotta let them know. We gotta let them know. Look at that. Where's the no human is limited? Bang. No human is limited. So it's these mind games we play with ourselves sometimes. And if you look at my splits, this is a very common pattern that you might see in somebody's marathon splits. You start out steady, your pace drops 3/5 to 4/5 out of the way, and then you finish it out strong. I was actually reading the Alex Hutchinson Endure book last night, and there's a theory, the central governor theory, and just different theories about how the mind works, that it's mental, that some of the reason why we might slow down 3/4, 3/4, or 3/5 the way through a race is because our mind is pulling our body back. Maybe that's the case, or maybe I was just truly tired. I mean, my legs feel like absolute garbage right now, and I know I'm not fully recovered from Chicago, but either way, forcing ourselves to endure, to push through the mental fatigue, regardless of how we feel physically, will make us stronger runners. So much of the marathon is mental. There were runners at the Chicago Marathon who've run faster half marathons than I had, who hit crazier workouts than I had, who finished at 2:45 or who finished at 2:55. And on the same other coin, same side, the other side of the same coin, we had runners who I hit crazier workouts than them, and they finished 2:35 or faster because they said in their minds, my goal today is a 2:35. A lot of training is mental. That's why when I did the video about how to use tempo runs during marathon training, my philosophy is to use those as endurance building runs, practicing the fatigue, practicing fighting for as long as we can at race pace. You can get the same physical benefit by breaking up those marathon pace tempo runs into 3 sets of 4 miles. But the marathon is not all about physical adaptations. That's why it's such a challenge for a lot of people. Hitting the wall, some of that is physical, some of that is mental. So we have to train our minds as well as our bodies. And the workouts that we do to train our minds, this isn't I'm walking across hot coals or trying to tackle a pig blindfolded. That's not the type of mind training I'm talking about. This is not a game of chess or Chinese checkers. We have to train our minds to prepare to do the same thing on race day during training. That's what it means to train our minds. So grinding out 23, that is great mental training to prepare for what it feels like to grind out 26. Doing a race pace tempo for 16 miles is great mental training to prepare for what we do on race day. And this is a type of run that reminds me what it takes to hit my goals, what it's going to take to consistently execute. And being able to do this type of run also reminds me that I can do it. We can do it, guys. If you lock in, and when it gets hard, just keep going. Keep it at that 6 or 7. That's to keep the gosh dang mustard on the dog. We don't have to go into the demon time depths of the 7th circle of Hades. It doesn't have to get so painful. If we can consistently execute, you come up with the goal, you formulate the plan, you execute at a 6 or a 7 level, and that's what it was today, we'll be fine. And this shoe, let's talk about the Zoom Fly 6. This is a 6 or a 7 shoe. I tried to like it. We had some good moments with it. We had some bad moments with it. Let's throw up the splits. And wow, I am super backlit. This is what I'm saying about the trees here. Let's see if I can. It's just a weird time of day to film. That's not better. That's not better. That's as good as it's gonna get today. It's just daylight savings time. We got weird lighting, but yeah, started off around a 7 flat pace. That's where we were hanging out for most of this run. This shoe is just fine. It feels like a training version of the Vaporfly. If you like the Nike Vaporfly, you might like this, but it has a lot of the same issues that I experienced in the Vaporfly. The geometry is just okay. The forefoot doesn't, and it's weird because there is a decent amount of cushion here, but it doesn't feel that protective, and maybe it's because the plate is closer up to the foot on this shoe, but it feels like my foot is slamming on that plate when I'm running at certain paces, and especially at slower paces, and it's not the smoothest ride. I'm getting some of that choppy sensation. So that was the bad part of this shoe, and my early overreaction was that it was not good. Middle part of the run, it started feeling okay. I never had an amazing experience with it. It was just okay. This is the type of a shoe where if you're a fan of Nike, you do a lot of 1-hour runs and below. Occasionally, F1 stackies, putting in work. Occasionally doing 90-minute runs. This will be completely fine. Nike has a lot of name recognition. They're borderline on the all name, no game right now with a lot of these latest releases. They have a lot of name recognition. If you get this shoe and you run in it for 45 minutes, if you're doing a lot of 5-minute runs, if you're doing 10-mile long runs, it's gonna be completely fine. Nike doesn't put out horrible shoes. Even the Pegasus, which I did not like as a high mileage marathon runner, is fine. But one of the benefits of my style of testing and what I do in these reviews is I stress test them. I push them to the limits, 23 miles out of the box. And let me tell you, compared to the cream of the crop shoes in 2024, and I'm not even talking Super Max Stack, I'm not even talking about the Skyward X and the Mag Max and the Super Blast and all those $200+ shoes, regardless of how much I like the individual shoes. A lot of those shoes have more technology, foam built in. Just comparing this to its competitors in the 160 to, I guess we have to go 160 to 190 because that's where the Mach X2 is. Maybe that's overpriced compared to the category, but Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, 170, Asics Magic Speed 4, 170, Brooks Hyperion Max 2, 180, Hoka Mach X2, 180, Puma Deviate Nitro 3, 160, New Balance SC Trainer, I need a sixth finger on this hand, New Balance SC Trainer V3, that's 160. I'm sure I forgot one or two, but that's the core of this category, the marathon speed training or distance speed training category. These shoes blend some elements of everyday running shoes, some elements of comfort with speed. They're not as stacked as those Super Max Stack shoes, and this one is even race legal. It has 40 millimeters in the back. Compared to all of those shoes, this is just okay. The foam is average. It really does feel like that the stress ball type of foam pushing it in. It's not the bounciest, and especially at slower paces, it was just okay. When I started picking up the pace, I did get some more out of it, but with this type of shoe, the benefit of this category, when I'm thinking of the Mach X2s and the Deviate Nitro 3s and the Hyperion Max 2, you want to be able to pull for them for everyday runs. And for runs like this, where we're gonna be mixing paces and not just running fast. Otherwise, I would just go for a speed training shoe like the Brooks Hyperion 2 or the On Cloud Boom Zone, which just came out, or the New Balance Rebel, that lower stack to the ground. Those shoes aren't designed to have the most support. Those shoes aren't designed to feel great for long miles. Those shoes are designed for speed and long runs. Nike Pegasus Plus. Sorry, those are designed for speed and short runs, like the Nike Pegasus Plus. And that's where this is confusing in the lineup, because you already have the Pegasus Plus at 180. That's supposed to be the short and fast shoe. This feels pretty similar to that. There's more stack height, but it's not giving me more protection. The foam is compressing more. The foam in this might even be worse performance-wise than the foam in the Pegasus Plus. I'm just not too impressed with it. So the bounce is just okay. The cushioning, below average. This has less protection than nearly all of those shoes. I did a 25-mile day in the Magic Speed 4. I thought that was going to be the flimsiest shoe in the category, but that stood up pretty well. So I would put that on par with this. I can go 23 in it, but my forefeet, the balls of my feet, feel sore right now from this plate. So the same issue with the Vaporfly. If you run a half marathon in the Vaporfly all out, or you run a marathon in the Vaporfly all out, man, your feet are going to be hurting the next day. I've done it before. My current half marathon PR, well, it's not my PR anymore, but the last race PR that I ran, it was a 1:19 a year ago. I've run 2 or 3 other lower half marathons during training, but that was my last race PR. I ran it in the Kipchoge Vaporfly 3s. Man, my feet were so beat up after that. That's the classic Vaporfly feel. It's fast, but there's not a lot of protection, and especially in the 3 versus the Vaporfly 2, you're right on top of that plate, and the forefoot just does not have too much cushioning. This is 10% better, but still has that feel where it's aggressive, it's fast. You have to be running fast to get some benefit, popping off the ground, running with the exact right form for it to feel good. And you have to lock in with the mechanics. So this wouldn't be my pick out of all the shoes I've tested this year to run a 23-mile long run again. Where I suspect this will perform best and where it's going to shine is those Tuesday workouts and Thursday workouts. So when I say Tuesday workouts, if we're following the Hansen system, which is the style of training that I recommend for a lot of newer runners, if you're doing your first half marathon or if you're doing first or second marathon, Tuesdays are going to be the days where we go faster than race pace. Some people do track Tuesdays, but 400s, 800s, maybe getting up to 1200s in a kilometer, repeats. This is the classic interval style training. That's where this shoe seems like it's going to perform best for me, because the faster I went in it, the better it felt. Over this long run, it was okay, and I did get through 23 injury-free. We always have to give it some points for that. But the protection isn't on par with the other shoes in the category. Hyperion Max 2 is more protective. Mach X2 is more protective. I would put this up against those other speed training shoes where we're going to be doing interval style workouts, or potentially a tempo or a getting down to marathon pace and ripping for up to an hour. That's where this is, I suspect, going to perform best. So another Nike that is disappointing for me. It's not a bad shoe. Again, my disappointment is coming from getting excited about it because it looks so gosh dang good. But that's the Nike trap, and that's where you fool me. How many times are we gonna get fooled by Nike, man? I'm out here like W. Out here like W. Gosh, it's just the stuff. You know what's funny? Nike had this ad campaign over the summer. I'm sure they're still doing it. Where the gist of it was, if it's not painful, you're not getting better. And I just thought that was so funny because a lot of their shoes are borderline painful to run in. So that's their philosophy right now. For this type of a run, this shoe is perfect for this type of run where we have to dig deep, and I'm proving to myself that I'm a gosh dang man. I'm cut from a thick, hardy cloth in a pair of Nikes. That's the vibe of a lot of their shoes, man. I just want something comfortable and fun. This is not comfortable and it's not that fun. So I have high hopes for the Alter G. I'm disappointed again in this. Let's call it a 6.5. It's a 6.5. It was not bad, but it's not the best of the best. It's a tier 2. It's a tier 2. It's the definition of mid. Alright, refuel time. Ah. Dude, these just look so good. They just look, oh my gosh, the colorway is so good. It should be illegal to have a colorway be this good and the shoe to be so average. It's not fair. It's not fair. Alright, there you go. That's your new home. Kipchoge Zoomfly 6. Thank you for giving us 23 injury-free miles. Refuel. Bang. Looks like Charles made some waffles. That is going to be Complete Flames. And Wall Street Journal. Let's go. I should probably actually read this. I like it. This is what I'm gonna real super quick refuel here before I even get to the waffle. Charlie and I did a date night last night for the first time in over a year. That's not good. That's not good. Parents, get out for date nights. You can't be going years without it. But we went to Optimus Hall in Charlotte. It's fire. It's a food hall. We've never been there before. They have a bakery, Suarez Bakery in Barra. Muchas gracias, amigo. This is a vegan donut. I got 2 of them because you got to keep those donuts on deck. A vegan donut taste test from Suarez Bakery. 1 bite. Everybody knows the rules. That's the reason Charlie made me change my hat, by the way. She said I couldn't wear a dirty hobby jogger hat on date night. All right, look at that thing. Woo. You can tell it's day 2. You can tell it's day 2 because it's from yesterday. But it's still fire. Not as good as Vortex in Asheville, but it's fire. Hey, Charlie putting in work. She was rocking the Diodora Nucleos too. Put some respect on the Diodora Nucleos.
All right, lunchtime here. This is a very late lunch. It's 2:20. That is not good. I'm underfueled, but we had butternut squash mac and cheese for dinner last night. Well, the kids did, and Charlie and I went out for date night. So I threw that leftover in the cast iron, and then I chopped up a Beyond Burger and cooked that up as well for some extra protein. So this will be the lunch. Probably throw some Frank's Red Hot on top of it too. Fire. Look at that. So that's the pro tip. The cast iron just crisps anything up. Crisps anything up.